Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a digital negative, and you can do it starting from either Photoshop or from Lightroom. I'm going to start from Lightroom just because we've been using that frequently, and it's super easy to hop on over into Photoshop. So this is a JPEG that a student turned in for the for the origami still life project. So I'm just going to go ahead and demo with this one. So first thing I need is to turn my image to black and white. I am going to create a virtual copy because I want to still have my color version. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and say create virtual copy. And I here in the develop tab, so remember libraries where you're going to import stuff. I'll show you the library view. That looks a little bit different. So you're probably used to this library view where you're importing, and I'm over here in the develop tab. All right, so I've created a virtual copy, and I'm going to go ahead and now make this image black and white. So a few ways I can do this when I'm in the develop tab, when I'm on my basic sliders. The easiest way is to just hit this B and W. Okay, it's going to remove all the color information and give you a black and white, which you can then, continue to make adjustments. Maybe I want to bring up my clarity a little, so on and so forth. So you can still edit. So that's one super easy way. I'm going to do Control Z to undo. And another way is by using some of these presets. So if I'm over here on the left-hand side, I can scroll on down. So past portraits, seasons, right here, I have style black and white. There's also some different methods of turning your image to black and white here that you might like. Some of these, by the way, heads up, do have like a slight tint of color to them. So they're not like true black and white. Some of them are like toned. But it will get you most of the way there. So that's another method. If you happen to like one of these, go for it. You'll just click on it to apply that preset. And then again, you can still continue to make further adjustments. Again, here I'll do like a texture slider just to show. Okay, so there's a few different ways to do that. I'm going to go ahead and Control Z. I'm going to go ahead and just do this B and W here. I do want to show you, some of you, because we shot these on pretty high ISO, you might have like a little bit of noise here. Let me go ahead and increase this exposure. Let me give it some more texture clarity so it really comes out. So you can see as I'm doing that, I like how this looks on my image. So you want to get all of your edits in now before you print your digital negative. But I can see like over here in the back that there's a lot of noise. It looks like it could be dust, but I think there's actually a lot of noise. So I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down and past the detail. All right, there's gonna be a noise reduction here. For you, the denoise should be active if you're editing your camera raw images. This is actually a JPEG I downloaded because it was a student example, so I'm gonna have to do manual. So I'm gonna go ahead and just bump up this right, and you can see that really cleaned up a lot of that. I probably still have some dust that I could go back and fix up, but that took care of the majority of it. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this image. I do want to crop it though to the correct size, and this is one advantage of Lightroom versus Photoshop is that your crop is always undoable. So I'm going to go ahead here to the crop tool, and I'm going to go ahead and choose a size. So for the darkroom, what you see is what you get. So whatever size you print your negative. This is a contact printing process, so the size is going to stay the same. So I have either 8x10 paper in the darkroom, so I can choose an 8x10, and again, you can move this around. You can bring in these edges as well if you want it in nice and tight. Okay, I can also choose 5x7, so two different paper size choices. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the 5x7 and leave myself some negative space because I want to add some text over here. All right, and when you're ready to get out of the crop, just go ahead and go back to the sliders. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this. I think I want to just do a little bit of the masking. So let me just do a little bit of masking. I want to select my subject and let's see, maybe give it a little bit more. texture and clarity here on the mask. And I'm going to bring those highlights down just a smidge. Okay. Okay, all right, happy with that, good enough for the demo. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move into Photoshop now. So I want to be able to get back to this black and white. So I'm actually gonna create another virtual copy. So I have my edited color, then I have my black and white right here. Sorry, my computer's lagging. All right, and I'm actually gonna right click, create virtual copy, and this is the one that I'm gonna turn into the digital negative. If you forget to do this, it's okay because Lightroom, everything's reversible, but I like having it here just in my roll. So I'm having another copy that I'm gonna turn into the negative. All right, so now I'm ready to hop over to Photoshop. You can do this in Lightroom, but I think it's just easiest to do it in Photoshop. So I'm gonna right click, edit in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so it's asking me what do I want to do. I want to edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. So I'm going to hit it, and it's going to go ahead and open this up in Photoshop for me. And should open any moment. Your computers are going to go much faster. All right, so I'm now in Photoshop and I'm ready to go ahead and make this a negative. So I do notice there is some dust over here, so I'm just going to quickly use J. That's my healing brush. I'm going to go ahead and heal up some of this dust. Okay, you can also use the clone stamp if you need to, but I'm just going to take care of just a little bit. All right, and now I'm ready to turn this into a negative. So if your screen looks different than mine, I'm using Window Workspace, the photography. I'll go ahead and reset this. Okay, so this is likely what your screen looks like. If it doesn't, you're going to say Window Workspace Photography. You can also reset it if you've lost some screens. All right, so I'm going to go over here in the layers and I'm going to invert this image. So two different ways I can do this. I can either go to my little adjustment layer icon and choose invert. There we go. I now have a negative. Or I can also go image adjustments, invert here. Okay, and then it's all kind of like in one layer. I don't have to flatten it. So either works. Image, adjustments, invert. And I can invert back and forth, back and forth. Okay, or I could go here and invert. All right, that's it to create the negative. So I'm now going to just click the X on here. It's going to say, do I want to save the changes? Yes. And it's going to go ahead and save that for me. It's going to bring it back into Lightroom. So it's there in my camera roll. So when I click back to Lightroom, I now have my negative. So you can see I've got my color version over here still. I've got my black and white image. And then I also have my digital negative. All right, so last step is just going to be to export this. So I'm going to say File, Export. You can export it to your Google Drive. I'm just going to go ahead and for today export it to my desktop. And I'm going to add a little thing here for rename. And I'm going to call this maybe digital negative. Okay, and export. All right, and that's it. If you were starting the process from Photoshop, I'll just quickly show that. So if I was going to start the whole thing in Photoshop and skip Lightroom completely, let's say I have an already edited black and white version. I could say File, Open. And let's see, I think I have an image here on my desktop. Oh no, let's go by Recent. Oh. Okay. It's rearranging some things. Let's see if I can find this image here. There we go. Okay. So I could open it in Photoshop, and to do all the steps here, I would go to my yin yang. I could make all my adjustments here, so I could make it black and white. There's lots of different options here that you can go through. I really like just converting it in Lightroom, but you're welcome to do it in Photoshop as well. Make all your adjustments, you know, with these adjustment layers as well, and then get to the end, you would do the invert as well, and then we'd say File, Save a Copy, and JPEG. Actually, I should show you how to crop in Photoshop as well. So C is the crop tool for this. Remember 8x10 is one size option. Oh yeah, I could also do vertical. 8x10 or 5x7. Okay, 8x10 or 5x7. I can hit the little switch and it will go vertical, horizontal. I can move these in, I can move these out, so on and so forth, move this around. Sure, let's do a vertical. And I'm going to say File, oh, I have to hit Enter. File, Save a Copy. And you're going to choose JPEG as your type. I'm going to put this one on my desktop as well. And this is a vertical. Digital negative. If you are working in Photoshop to do all of your changes, the brightness, contrast, the black and white, you will want to save a Photoshop as well, so you can go back and make any adjustments as needed. And that's how you create a digital negative. So you can either start in Lightroom or in Photoshop. Just to recap, I like doing Lightroom because everything you can reverse. You can always go back. So you can see here, if I hit previous, it will undo all this stuff I did here. I'm actually going to hit stop because I don't want to crash my computer. But I do like doing it in Lightroom, but you are welcome to do it in Photoshop as well. Either way, you are going to end up in Photoshop to add that invert.